This video I'm just going to go over another visualization, and it's just going to be a bar graph, and I just want to show basically which states have the higher number of drivers involved in fatal accidents per billion miles. So to do this, I'm just going to use a couple dimensions, or one dimension and one measure. So I'm going to use the state, and I'm going to use this measure right here that says number of drivers involved in fatal collisions per billion miles. Okay, so I could visualize this just using a table, or I can go in Tableau and use something like a bar graph. Okay, this is cool. How about I make it vertical? So I'm going to reverse these. Perfect. So if I just hit this button right here, it'll transpose it for me. Okay, that gives me a visualization. That's kind of cool. But I don't like how there's only one color. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the measure. I want it to be colored from red to green depending on how large the number is. So if I drag number of drivers, this measure that we used, over this color button, it'll create a color palette for us to kind of see a little more clearly. In this case, what it automatically did was it kind of did a color intensity. So the lower it is, the lighter the color blue it is, and then the higher it is, the more intense the color is. If I want to change these colors, I can click on the color button right here and hit edit colors. And like I said, I want to do a red to green. And this one looks like it'll do it for me. Red to green diverging. Let's apply and see what that looks like. Ooh, yeah, okay, so I don't want the lower ones to be bad. I want that to be reversed, so I check this right here. Okay, so that kind of gives me a good idea. So what this will tell me, this is telling me the green is used to tell me what states are safer and what states maybe are not so safe as far as fatal collisions. So I can step this and make it so that it's only 3 colors. Kind of useful for depending on how big your data is and how you want to separate it. For now, I'm just going to leave it the way it was and then hit OK. So right here what we did is we just created a simple graph saying how by state, the number of fatal collisions per billions of miles. So I'm just going to name this drivers involved in fatal collisions by state. Now this is a pretty long name. I don't suggest you naming your sheets quite as long, but just for our purposes, I'm just going to do that real quick. So let's try some formatting over here. What if I want to kind of make this a little cooler? So let's right click on the graph and hit format. Let's take a look at this shading. I want to default this and shade this to something a little darker. Maybe something like that. Okay, cool. Now I want to change the text so that it's white. Okay. And then if I want to get rid of those grid lines, I go to this button right here where it says lines. I want to do 0 lines. I don't want any of that. Trend lines, none. Drop lines, none. This is actually under rows, grid lines. So I think maybe I took a little. Yeah, I can just do that. Let's go ahead and edit our axis. Okay, so we can do this by double clicking right here. I don't want that long title, so in fact I'm just not going to give it a title. And what I'll do here is I will change that title. Okay, so I'm going to right click here and hit hide field labels for columns. It's going to take that. And let's edit the title here. Let's just give it a title and this automatically by default gives it the sheet name. Oh, it looks like it's already showing up, it's just we can't see it because it is hidden. So let's format that title. And okay, let's get the fonts over here. Yeah, that's why, because our text color is the same color as the background. There you go. That might help us a little bit. Okay, so this is our first visualization here, and it kind of gives us an idea by color which states kind of give you a little more of a red flag and which states are a little more safer to drive in as far as fatal crashes go. Some of you may be looking at some of these statistics and saying, wait, my state is super low. That's totally not true, and I have accidents all the time. And especially for those who live in Utah, I would completely agree with you. Now, remember that our data is telling us not all the accidents that happen, but only fatal accidents that happen. So when we're looking at it in that context, Utah, and whatever state, insert your state name here, is lower or higher on this scale. Okay, so that's how you do a bar graph and format it to be divided by colors and kind of do the background a little more.